Have you ever wondered if humans always saw the world the way we do now? Could the sky have looked different to ancient eyes? Or did people in the past think and feel in ways we can't even imagine today? Let's dive into the fascinating question: has human perception changed over time? Science, history, and even mysticism suggest the answer might not be as simple as you think. Let's start with something curious. The ancient Greeks didn't have a word for blue. In Homer's The Odyssey, the sea is described as wine dark, not blue. This isn't because the sea changed color, it's because their brains processed it differently. Some researchers believe ancient cultures didn't actually see blue the way we do because their language and concepts shaped their perception. This raises a big question: does the way we describe the world actually change how we see it? Linguistics and neuroscience suggest, maybe. Scientists have found that the structure of language can influence how we perceive time, space, and even color. In some indigenous languages, there's no word for left or right. Instead, directions are given based on the cardinal points: north, south, east, and west. If someone tells you to move your east foot forward, you need an innate sense of geography, something that rewires how your brain perceives space. Now, imagine living in a world where time isn't linear. Some cultures think of time as a cycle or a spiral, not a straight line with a past, present, and future. Their perception of life, goals, and mortality is fundamentally different. So, the language we use doesn't just describe reality, it shapes our experience of it. Let's add another layer. Our brains have physically evolved. Neuroscientists suggest that the structure of the brain, particularly the prefrontal cortex, has undergone subtle changes over millennia. This could mean that the way we process emotions, make decisions, or even view ourselves has shifted over time. Take mystic and religious experiences, for example. In ancient texts, prophets and seers often described hearing voices or seeing visions. Could this be linked to brain activity that was more common or interpreted differently in earlier times? Julian Jaynes, a psychologist, proposed the controversial theory that ancient humans experienced something called the bicameral mind. He argued that instead of inner monologues like we have today, they heard what they thought were the voices of gods. But science isn't the only lens here. Mystics and spiritual traditions from around the world have long claimed that human perception can expand or evolve. Practices like meditation, psychedelics, and even deep prayer have been said to unlock altered states of consciousness. Interestingly, modern neuroscience backs this up. Brain scans show that during deep meditation or psychedelic experiences, the brain's default mode network, a kind of mental autopilot, quiets down. This allows people to perceive the world in radically new ways, often reporting a sense of interconnectedness or timelessness. Could this suggest that human perception isn't fixed? That even now, we might not be seeing the whole picture? Now, let's fast forward to today. Technology is actively changing how we perceive reality. Through augmented reality, virtual reality, and AI, we're blending the physical and digital worlds. If you've ever used a VR headset, you know how real it can feel. Your brain struggles to tell the difference. But there's a deeper implication here. As our tools change, so might our brains. Some researchers believe that constant exposure to screens and fast-paced media is rewiring how we think, shortening attention spans and making us more reactive. Are we evolving or devolving into a new type of consciousness? The answer is, probably not. Ancient languages, evolving brains, cultural paradigms, mystical practices, and now technology all suggest that perception isn't fixed, it's fluid. The way we see, feel, and interpret the world is shaped by our biology, environment, and beliefs. But here's the bigger question: if our perception is constantly shifting, what else might we be missing? Could there be aspects of reality we're blind to, just as ancient cultures might have been blind to blue? Think about how you perceive the world right now. What's shaping your reality? Is it your language? Your culture? Your technology? And most importantly, could you expand your perception to see the world in a whole new way? Let me know in the comments. Do you think perception is something we can change, or are we stuck seeing the world through our own limited lens? Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the mysteries of the mind and universe.